Can you imagine navigating the world, not with your eyes, but with sound? I mean, picturing the shape of a room, dodging a lamppost on the street, even playing basketball, all by making these quiet little clicks with your tongue and just listening to the echoes. It sounds like something straight out of a comic book, a superpower, right? But for some blind individuals, it is absolutely real. And today, we're going to dive deep into the neuroscience behind this incredible.
So, that brings us right to the heart of it, the big question. Can a human brain actually learn to see using sound? I mean, really see? It's a question that honestly challenges everything we think we know about how our senses and our brain are supposed to work together. So, this skill is called human echolocation, and it works kind of like how a bat or a dolphin navigates. An expert user makes a sound, usually a sharp little click with their tongue, and their brain takes the returning echoes and just builds a picture of the world from them. It's amazing.
To figure out how this is even possible, a 2011 study dug into the lives of two expert echolocators, known in the study as EB and LB. Now, both of them are blind, and they use this skill every single day for, well, everything, from hiking and mountain biking to just getting around a busy city. Their level of skill is just astonishing.
You know, when you see that level of proficiency, it naturally raises a huge, fascinating question for scientists. When these experts are using echoes to perceive the world, what is their brain actually doing in there?
Well, there were basically two main possibilities on the table. The first idea is that their auditory cortex, the brain's hearing center, is just incredibly well-trained, a form of super advanced hearing. But the second possibility, well, it's way more radical. It's the idea that the brain has actually rewired its visual cortex, the part that's supposed to handle sight, to process sound waves instead.
Okay, so how do you solve that mystery? You can't exactly ask these experts to make clicks inside a super loud fMRI machine, right? So the scientists had to get clever. They came up with a really smart experiment using what's called a passive listening setup, letting them peek inside the brain while it was working its magic.
And the method was just brilliant in its simplicity. First, they recorded the sounds, the experts' clicks, and the super faint echoes that came back from different objects. Then, and this is the crucial part, they made a second set of recordings that had the clicks and all the background noise, but they digitally scrubbed the echoes out. Then, they just played both versions back to the participants inside an fMRI scanner and compared what the brain was doing. The whole key was to isolate the brain's response to just the echoes.
So how good were they, even just passively listening to these sounds? Well, this table says it all. When it came to identifying an object's location and shape just from the sound, the expert, EB, was pretty much perfect. The cited controls, well, they were basically just guessing. This proved that those recordings were packed with rich spatial information that only the experts knew how to unlock.
All right, so the stage was set. The experts could clearly see objects just from these recordings. The only question left was which part of their brain was doing all the heavy lifting.
So, when the brain was processing that vital echo information, that key difference between perceiving an object and just hearing a click, which part actually lit up?
And here we go. This is the raw data. On the right, that's the brain scan for a sighted control participant. You can see no big difference in activity. But just look at the scan on the left. That's for the expert EB. A very specific region is clearly firing up, but only when the echoes are there. The big question is, where in the brain is that happening? And this is the first huge surprise. When the researchers compared the echo versus the no-echo scans, they found no significant difference in activity in the auditory cortex. For anyone, the hearing center wasn't the part doing the special work here.
Instead, for the experts, the activity was in the calcarine cortex, a core part of the brain's visual processing center. Let that sink in. The brain wasn't just hearing better, it was using its vision hardware to process sound.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The study's authors put it right there in black and white, concluding that the processing of click echoes recruits brain regions typically devoted to vision rather than audition. It's just a profound statement about how flexible our brains really are.
But the discovery didn't even stop there. The researchers found that the brain wasn't just using the visual cortex as some kind of spare part. It was using it in a way that was uncannily, spookily similar to how it processes actual light.
So that begs the question, right? How deep does this rewiring really go? Is it just a general area lighting up, or is it actually mimicking the complex, specific functions of real sight?
And the answer, which you can see right here, is it's astonishingly deep. You see, in sighted people, anything you see in your right field of view gets processed in the left half of your visual cortex, and vice versa. It's called contralateral wrapping. Well, as you can see from EB's brain scan, the exact same thing happened with sound. An echo from the right lit up his left visual cortex. The brain had literally recreated a fundamental wiring pattern of vision, but for hearing.
And the richness of this new sense was remarkable. The study showed that just from these echoes, the experts could tell if an object was moving, perceive its shape, like if it was concave or flat, and even identify what it was, telling the difference between a car, a tree, or a pole.
And this specialization went even further. Check this out. When the experts perceived motion from the echoes, the specific brain regions that normally process visual motion lit up. It's like the brain was running the same software, just with a different kind of input. A core function of sight had been totally repurposed for sound.
So, what does this all mean? What's the big takeaway here? Well, these findings are just a powerful, powerful testament to one of the most incredible features of our minds, neuroplasticity. Ultimately, what this research shows us is that the brain isn't like some fixed computer hardware where one part is for vision and another is for sound and that's it. No, it's this dynamic, incredibly adaptable system that can repurpose entire regions to overcome challenges and literally create new ways of sensing the world.
And you know, this isn't just a cool scientific curiosity. The researchers make a point to emphasize that this is a trainable skill. It's something that can offer a high degree of independence and self-reliance for blind people, and that provides some truly powerful and liberating opportunities.
And it just leaves us with this one fascinating final thought. This research reveals a kind of dormant potential, hidden away in the architecture of the human brain. And if it can learn to see with sound, you have to wonder, what other incredible abilities, what other forms of perception might just be waiting to be unlocked?